Sharad. Before we move out for the networking drinks and dinner, this is a perfect time as we are drawing close to the end of the event to recognize some of the new age entrepreneurs who are sitting amongst us and who have come through the process of NASSCOM Emerge 50 programs, which essentially is an annual program of NASSCOM trying to figure out the top 50 IT companies, emerging IT companies every year. And amongst that, we also bring in a league of 10 companies which we try to encourage and showcase over here at this platform. And this is an ongoing effort, and we had an overwhelming response this year in terms of the number of applications. And the assessment this year were based on several parameters such as financials, growth, market differentiators, innovation impact, etc. So the format is we have two mini sessions here, very small ones, and we have Shruti, who is going to be the key anchor of this session. Shruti, are you here somewhere? Sorry, I can't see her, but I'm sure she will be here in a minute or so. Shruti is here. Oh, okay, great. So, Shruti is going to do a brief discussion with the 10 winners, and we'll have these 10 winners coming into a group of 5 each. So, I would like to invite Shruti on the stage, and while she's coming up, I would also like to prepare the set of 5 companies to come up on the dais and briefly introduce about their product or services. Thank you, Shruti.
Thank you.
The first company which I would like to invite on stage, and the representative is Dheeraj Tolwani from B2R, which is Business to Rural. So Dheeraj, please come up on the stage. Can we have 2 more chairs on the stage, please? B2R is a for-profit social enterprise that delivers BPO services through centers located in the villages of Uttarakhand, using technology as a key enabler. B2R is creating livelihood opportunities for the rural youth in India. Congratulations. Second company I would like to call upon is Reverie. Arvind Pani, if you could please come up on the stage. To give a brief note about Reverie, 1 billion non-English speaking people in South and West Asia can use their mobiles to create and access digital content in 32 languages of the world, thanks to Reverie. This platform can be used to create mobile-based applications, games, and content in local languages easily. Thank you, Arvind. The third company is Knowlescape. Would like to invite Rajiv Jayaraman. Knowlescape is an award-winning serious gaming and simulation software company focusing on management training and assessments, with the mission of bringing experience back to the center stage of the learning process. The learning tools are being used at Kellogg, ISB, INSAD, and by many other Fortune 500 companies. Congratulations, Rajiv. Now I would like to call upon Unni Krishnan from Foradian. This is an ERP solution for educational institutions by Foradian, and the name is Fedina. It is used in over 40,000 institutions around the world and powers 20 million users in 100+ countries. Congratulations, Uni. The fifth company is Texello. I'd like to invite Shankar on stage. Texello has also been recognized as a cool vendor by Gartner, and it is a cloud-ready multi-tenant application development platform, the fastest way to build SaaS applications on .NET for any cloud. Over to you, Shruti, to have a brief discussion with them.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me start by asking you, Dheeraj, that you've come up with the idea of setting up a BPO in Uttarakhand. Now, what made you think of setting up a BPO in Uttarakhand and not in any other metro?
The first and the most important, we've been having worked in the BPO industry for about 10 years, we've seen some of the challenges that the BPO industry has been facing, both from an attrition perspective and a rising cost perspective, which is creating a margin pressure. And so we've seen the business side of delivery taking a lot of a hit. On the other side, we also saw a social challenge which continued to prevail of lack of rural employment. And it is together that we looked at this particular idea. But why Uttarakhand in particular we saw as more an interesting area to do it. There's a cultural push in Uttarakhand is one of the reasons. Of course, the economic activity in any rural area in India is fairly lower as compared to a metro, and that is where we saw this as it is going to be able to address both those challenges very effectively, but the hills are even further lower in the economic activity that they generate because there's not much industrial activity which happens there.
Yes, so you're saying that it's an advantage to set up in Uttarakhand rather than in any other metro city where people are more loyal, there is low attrition rate?
Yes, there is definitely low attrition rate. We have 6% annualized versus about 15% monthly compared to the urban BPOs. What I would say is an advantage, although the relationship we see it as, it is very complementary. There are things which cannot be done in the rural area, and there are things which will be better off done there. And it's a complementary relationship with the urban and the rural together can deliver much better.
So what would you say is your single biggest challenge? Is training a challenge for you?
Training is a very key area of focus. It is something which we've designed significantly around and is today a key differentiator. So the fact that the most of the complex tasks that we get from the customer to do, it's important that we break down those into components and train on what are the components. The componentization is important and the context around the task. These are the two key pieces that we focus in the training in that.
All right, Dheeraj, let me come to you. Arvind, your innovation Reverie is helping over 1 billion people communicate over the mobile in their preferred language. How are you, removing this communication barrier?
So before I answer how we remove the barrier, let me just give you a little bit of background. Now I'm sure all of us in this room have mobile phones with us. And we use the mobile phone not just for voice communication, but for many other stuff, for email, SMS, accessing the browser, all those kind of stuff, right? Now if you take India as a country, there are about 900 million mobile phones. And the total literacy level in India is 76%. Total literacy level in the local languages. Whereas English literacy level is less than 10%. Which means there are about 650 million mobile users in India today who are using their mobile phone just for voice. There are three things that they cannot do today. One is read text in their languages, type in their languages, or access any kind of content on the mobile phone in their languages. And these are the three problems that we address. The delivery mechanism that we have is that we provide solutions to the device manufacturers. We provide SDKs that application developers can take and build inside their applications so that those applications are enabled to support multiple languages. And then we have content delivery platforms, service delivery platforms that content providers and telcos can use to deliver contents in multiple languages. Now, to see a validation of what we are using, Qualcomm is one of our customers, and recently through Qualcomm's chipsets, Micromax released a couple of devices in the Indian market. Those devices are priced below $120 at about 5,500 rupees for Hindi and Arabic language. Now, there was a comparison that was done of the Micromax device with an iPhone, which is priced at 40,000 rupees in India.
Sure.
And it was found out that the user experience through our solution in the Micromax device is far, far superior towards available even on an iPhone, right?
Okay.
And you could also try out, there is an application called Plus Text, which is using our SDK inside that, available on Google App Store, right? So that is world's first cross-language messaging application, database messaging application. So all the users can download that from the Google App Store and try that out.
So your innovation is also coming embedded in the mobile phone, or it's just an app?
No, so as I mentioned, it can be embedded inside the mobile phone by the manufacturers. The SDKs can be embedded inside the applications by the application developers. So that is how it is distributed to the consumers.
All right, Rajiv, your venture Knowlescape is a serious gaming and simulation company, and you're training managers. So tell me about the reach, about the clients that you've partnered with.
Sure. Good evening, everyone, and thanks NASSCOM for recognizing us. Just a little bit of background again. Pilots undergo serious training on flight simulators. Doctors undergo a lot of virtual training using cadavers. But somehow managers have a really low bar. We believe that right after they do a theory class on Porter's 5 forces, the person can start making decisions on the real world. We believe that this method of education is flawed and maybe the cause for a lot of economic problems we have. So we are trying to solve that problem by introducing experiential learning. Theory is great, but at the end of the day you need to apply it, which is where we believe simulations can be a great vehicle for creating future-ready leaders. That's our mission. So to answer your question on the reach, we are fortunate to be working with top-tier B schools across the world, INSEAD, Kellogg, ISB in India, a lot of top-tier B schools. So we have co-created products. We have about 20 plus products today in our portfolio, catering to different management domains, leadership, sales, marketing, and so on and so forth. So earlier in the day, we heard about Indian companies global. Here's an example. We've been creating global learning products which are used at Wharton, Kellogg, INSEAD, and it's being done right here in Bangalore.
So can you give us figures as to how many programs have you created or how many level of games are there? If you can just give us some.
Sure. So we have close to 20 different simulations used both inside B schools, also inside corporate training programs, which is the other huge pain point. Today managers don't have the time. They need quick access into a quick learning solution, and our simulations give them the experience in a really shortened time span.
All right, another company that's betting on education is Faradian, and Uni, you know, your innovation is being used in 40,000 institutions and has powered 20 million users. What is your USP?
See, we are getting the numbers through an open source strategy. Before that, I would like to tell the market of the school management system. Fedina is basically a very simple school management system. But anyone who understands the market knows that there are thousands of companies who are already doing this. If you go to any city, there will be a small software company which sells an ERP or a management software to schools nearby. So in order to disrupt this market, we started with an open source strategy. So our base product Fedina is free and open source for anyone to download and use. And majority of our users are from developing nations of Latin America, Africa and Asia. The number 40,000 comes by the nearby state Kerala. All the 15,000 schools in Kerala is using Fedina simply because it is open source. So other than the free part, you are also free to make changes. You are also free to run a business out of Fedina as a reseller or whatever be the business you like. That is why we get this much number of customers, as well as there is one more thing. We get more than 200 downloads every day for our enterprise software.
You know, you mentioned the fact that it's free to use. Then how are you generating profits? What's your revenue model like?
Yeah. See, we are generating profit. We are running in profit. And it is similar to any other profitable open source business model like Sugar CRM, Red Hat or WordPress. See, the base product Fedina is free and open source. But we have got in-house plugins which add value to the product. And usually the customers who liked our product come and buy those plugins. And we have got a marketplace where we allow the plugin developers to exchange the plugins developed for Fedina. So all these kinds of innovations are helping us to generate more revenue and we are running profitable.
All right. So Shankar, you're a Tanjore-based company offering crowd-ready multi-tenant application development platform for .NET. What is it all about?
It sounds complex.
Yes.
Okay. See, like if you are if you are building a software as a service product, there are a lot of complex engineering goes into picture. In the sense, like you need to build a SaaS engineering layers, like you need to focus on scalability, configurability, data security, and then SaaS operationalization like tenant provisioning, metering, billing, workflow, and several things. So a software as a service product company, before they actually attempt to build their business functionality, they spend a lot of time in terms of building these engineering stacks. It takes a lot of time, and then both from the cost perspective as well as from the time to market perspective. We actually provide a .NET based platform. So providing the complete SaaS engineering stacks and SaaS operationalization stack. So that helps ISVs to build business applications directly instead of worrying about the underlying engineering. So we reduce that pain and then address that pain, and then we take care of all the engineering activities.
So can you give us a percentage of how much pain are you really reducing for your clients? Is there a...
It's anywhere between 30 to 40% of that time and effort actually.
All right,
and
great.
as well as the budget.
30 to 40% is quite a lot. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here. Pleasure talking to you. Time for the next 5.
Just a quick photo. You know, you've been a wonderful audience the whole day, and you know, I would just encourage you to stay back just another 10-15 minutes. This is going to get over very soon, and we will soon open the bar post this. So.